Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
How about the Leafs? I'm sure that people are just slowly making the climb to the top of buildings in your area to jump off when the Leafs fall next spring. Are they going to have a chip on their shoulder this season enough to win a Stanley Cup?
No, I wouldn't call it a chip on their shoulder. I think that there is a level of fragility to this team. When you look at what everybody else has done in their division, when you look at what Montreal's done, when you look at what New York did last year, when you see that Tampa Bay is still angry, Tampa Bay's still angry. You've got a bunch of teams. Maybe Ottawa improves a little bit. We're talking about teams like New Jersey. Do they push a little bit? The Islanders were absolutely dreadful last year. So do they go 2 years in a row under Lou and have that kind of tire spinning season? I don't think so, because I think you're going to get to a point, especially with the goaltending, and they're not an aggressive team and they don't have necessarily a great six in front of them, that you're going to see a little bit of sweating early. And if it does, I think there's going to be a bit of a meltdown. If I'm looking at a Leaf season right now and Leaf Nation, and this may not be popular on the show, but I think you got to go Crown Royal. You Crown Royal, maybe you're Jameson's person, maybe it's Stoli, but you better stock up that bar, because it's going to be a bad one. So if you don't have a habit, pick up one. Start smoking cigars, vape, become addicted to porn. Whatever you have to do, don't let it be the Leafs as your center focus, because you're going to be severely disappointed. And I'm expecting disaster. I'm expecting a disaster this year.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
Rough Riders on Monday named Cody Fajardo their starting quarterback. I did not hear news out of Calgary of the same, but you're going to pay a guy the highest paid Rough Rider in franchise history in this all-or-nothing year. I didn't really see the explanation from Craig Dickinson as to why they're going back to Cody Fajardo, but I also don't need it. Your guy is your guy, and you ride him until you can't ride him anymore. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show is coming to you live on Game Plus Television and also live streaming on YouTube. How do you do? It's episode number 827. And today's program, from what I understand from producer Clark, is somewhat of a moving target. We know that we'll be joined by the peerless, the award-winning Rod Black, the host of the newest podcast on the planet, The Rodcast. Rod Black's going to be with us today, and Mike Wilner, longtime Jays Talk host, Toronto Star columnist, host of the Deep Left Field podcast. Mike Wilner's going to be with us. We've got breaking news to get to out of Canadian sports news today. So we welcome to the program from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, Darren Moose DuPont. And we're going to be talking some NHL from one team in the Bermuda Triangle. How you doing today, Moose? What's going on?
Hey, doing great. Sun's out. Everything's rolling. So here we go.
Sun's out, and I see that you have your favorite wool knit top on. Can I call it a top? Did you not pick that up in Montreal
Yes.
at the Stanley Cup Finals last year? Was that in Montreal? Where did you get that wool/knit top that you like so much?
You are sharp. You are sharp. This is when you and I were taking a rip down St. Catharines, and I think Simon's is where I got this one. Short sleeve, beautiful summer shirt.
I remember it well. Okay, so yes, now that we have the fashion out of the way, can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Gordon? Please and thank you. And I'll say it again for those that weren't paying attention yesterday. There are approximately 1.7 million daytime sports talk shows on the air in the United States. You'd think there could be room for at least one in Canada, and this is it, and you're watching it. Now, I mentioned there's breaking news. It pertains to the Canadian Football League, but my quick six show topics are in this order. Number one, Jackie Bradley Jr. doubled and scored to key an 8-run inning against his former team, and the Toronto Blue Jays rolled to a 9-3 victory over the Boston Red Sox Tuesday night. George Springer had 2 hits and drove in 3 runs in his return to the lineup as DH. The Blue Jays notched their 5th win in 6 outings to keep pace with the Tampa Bay Rays in the American League wildcard standings. The Red Sox have lost 4 of their last 5 and will play the Jays again on Wednesday. they're getting smarter, these Canadian networks, Moose. I can't get my you-know-what to crack the code. I can't watch Blue Jays baseball right now, and it's starting to bother me down here. So I had to settle for the highlights on ESPN SportsCenter, and it looked so exciting. I'll tell you what, for those Red Sox fans who are last place in the AL East, they're like riddled with anxiety at Fenway Park, and their team's not even in contention. Looked like a hell of a ball game at Fenway, and I'll say this. This is what I see. Viewers, Blue Jays fans, particularly those in Eastern Canada where they really care, this is what I see. I think they went 8-1 when John Schneider took over as manager. The dead cat bounced, as they say. Then they went into a swoon. And now they're coming out of it. As I said, they've won 5 of their last 6. Pitching's been key. And now they got to keep the hammer down, Moose, the pedal to the metal the rest of the way. You got a month left in the regular season. There's no room for drop-offs, and I think that we're going to see the Blue Jays in the playoffs. And then from there, who knows? They took 3 or 4 off the Yankees on the weekend. So it's time for the Blue Jays fans in the country to stand up.
Yeah, I agree. And you nailed it, right? They won 3 or 4 against the Yankees. So they're showing that they can do it. There's confidence in that clubhouse. And if this is the Blue Jays now, they've had the up, they've had the down, and now they're going to settle here and be a real successful team. Yeah, this is going to be fun down the stretch and into the playoffs.
It's the summer, so what are we focused on? Major League Baseball, NFL preseason, and, of course, CFL. So we're getting it all, plus our daily look at an NHL team that's coming up in these quick 6. But you mentioned the Yankees, point 2. Aaron Judge hit a 453-foot drive halfway up the bleachers for his 48th home run and added an RBI single during a 7th-inning rally, boosting the Yankees past the Mets 4-2 on Tuesday for a 2-game sweep in a Subway Series that both teams hope was a World Series prelude. I don't think so. But it was the largest crowd at Yankee Stadium since 2013, 49,217. So, they're starting to get into it, and I hope the Blue Jays poop on their parade. Meanwhile, point 2B, Fernando Tatis apologized privately to his Padres teammates for testing positive for a performance-enhancing drug, then publicly expressed remorse for the 80-game suspension that'll keep him off the field well into next season. Oops, I didn't know what I put in my body. Can somebody write a new script for PED offenders? Because it's the same every time. Has there ever been one, Moose, that stood up and said, you got me. I thought I could beat it. The doctors told me that I could beat it with this masking agent, but you got me. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody just stood up and said that?
Yeah, it would be very refreshing, but it's probably not going to happen. But yeah, we could use a fresh script for the news conferences moving forward.
Hey, fans, bring the thrill of the track to your fingertips with Woodbine's Dark Horse Bets app. Its AI-powered insights and strategies help you make smarter bets straight out of the gate. Feel the excitement of live-streamed horse races wherever you go. Download the app for free at playdarkhorse.com, available for Android and Apple devices. I played it on the weekend for the Queen's Plate. I had my lights punched out. I should have listened to their betting insights. I went right off the board and said, Cause and Mayhem's going to show. Didn't happen. I should have listened to them. If I'd put money on Moira, I would have won. Anyways, moving on. Point 3. Here's your breaking news out of the Canadian Football League, and I brought my Stampeders bell with me. Bo Levi Mitchell has been officially sat. Benched might be too strong of a term, as the Blue Bombers are going to host the Calgary Stampeders Thursday night to kick off Week 12 in the CFL. Stampeders announced their roster this morning. Jake Mayer's at the top of it, and I think we need to spend a minute on this for our CFL fans watching on both sides of the border, because I had a great talk with a football guy from Mississippi this morning, and it wasn't Eric Tillman, although many times on the phone call I thought, am I talking to E.T.? Because that Mississippi twang is unmistakable. Listen, I didn't realize that it was Justin Dunk that initially reported that Bo Levi Mitchell was going to be sat down in Week 12. I thought it was somebody watching Stampeders practice and said, Jake Mayer's taking the first team reps. Bo's running the scout team. Clearly Jake's going to start. Because what did we hear from Stampeders people? Can I just say this? When we were in Calgary for 17 weeks, Darren, you were there, they said, Bo doesn't always, he likes to play, but he doesn't really like to practice. Don't ever read into the fact that he's not taking first-team reps, because usually he'll play. And maybe that's because of injury. In this case, this is not injury-related. This is performance-related. And I feel like this was not an easy decision for Dave Dickenson to make leading into Week 12 and what is apparently Canada's game of the week at Winnipeg.
Yeah, it's a big game. And you look at it a couple of ways. You've got the biggest test of your season. You've had this before with Winnipeg. You've got it again here. And so maybe it's an opportunity to see what you have in Jake Maier. Put him in the fire. Let him know he's going to start. And perhaps this is a big transition for the Stampeders. And we're not going to see Bo Levi again. And he might finish his career somewhere else. But it's going to be something this week to watch Jake play. And you're right, it can't have been easy for Dave Dickenson because there's a lot of love there probably for Bo Levi.
Well, we could sit here and talk about this for a couple of hours, and it is the CFL's #1 podcast. The numbers show it. And Three Down Nation is the CFL's #1 news periodical. There's no doubt about that. I read their story on this situation. Both Bo Levi Mitchell's contract and Jake Maier's contract are up at the end of the season. So not only are they going out to win a game in Winnipeg on Thursday night, but it may be for the future of the franchise. This is how pivotal things are for the Calgary Stampeders at this point. Now, Jake Maier has had 3 career starts, all because Bo was hurt, never because of this situation that he's won the starting job outright. But in each occasion that he started, he's thrown for over 300 yards. And John Huffnagel talked about that when he was on the air with us from Grey Eagle back in the winter time. This is like an historical day. Write it down. August 24th, 2022. We may see a changing of the guard at quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders. And I'll say it again, as the CFL's #1 podcast, we enjoy the ability to talk about all games and all teams. And I'm going to morph off here a little bit. This isn't a point per se, but I was on the BC Lions official team podcast last night with Matt Baker and Nick Kowalski, and it was such a pleasure to be on there talking about the future of Nathan Rourke now that he's hurt. And I'm going to totally go off the Stamps topic here and talk about Nathan Rourke, and I want yours, Darren, and the viewers' opinion on this. And on the Lions podcast, we talked about days gone by and those wonderful playoff battles and wars of the 2000s. But with regards to Nathan Rourke, obviously they're very upset in Vancouver what's happened. They're 8-1. You said you feel that they've got a big enough cushion to at least clinch a playoff spot, and you're probably right. This is what that football guy in Mississippi said today. Very well-versed in pro football. He said any NFL team should be frothing at the mouth to sign Nathan Rourke now, regardless of his injury, because he's proven that he's fine. He now has the all-time single-season completion percentage record, and he's top 3 in touchdowns per game, touchdown passes per attempts, and there's a third that he's in top 3 in. But what that guy said, Darren, was he's looking at no better than a #2 job in the NFL. And I'm like, then why would he want that per se, other than just money? If you want to play, he's going to stay in the CFL. Nothing's ever changed. Like Ricky Ray going to the Jets and Dave Dickenson going to the Chargers and whatever guys went down to hold a clipboard. We've been saying it for 20 years. Is that the best that Nathan Rourke has to look forward to? What do you think?
Yeah, but I think when you're looking at the player's mindset, getting to the NFL is the biggest battle, right? And if you bet on yourself, you'll take a #2 or #3 job because you believe that you can win the #1 job, right? I mean, we've seen backups make their way to the starting job. It doesn't happen that often in the NFL, you're right. And they do a better job of protecting their quarterbacks than anybody. But if Nathan Rourke has the ability and has the want, he's got to go try it. And even if it's only a #2 job, he'll take it and wait for his opportunity. Look at Marcus Mariota. He sat as the #2 guy in Las Vegas last season. Now the opportunity opened up with Matt Ryan going to Indy. He's there in Atlanta, played really well in that opening quarter, and he might have a bit of a renaissance season. So sometimes you just have to pick your spot and hope the opportunity works out.
Hey, listen, I don't mind the discussion at all, and I just want to put this out there that this career football guy feels that Nathan Rourke's shown enough that he's NFL caliber, but that's to be as a #2 guy. And the point is, Bo Levi's that. Mike Riley was that. Travis Lulay was probably that. But all those guys turned down NFL opportunities to stay in Canada and play, is kind of what I'm getting at. And I wonder if Nathan Rourke is potentially looking at the same thing. So I appreciate the viewers chiming in with all their comments today. We're talking CFL ball in the dead of summer, and they enjoy it. I can't get to your comments now because this is Darren and my time in the warm-up, and you all understand that. I would assume, Darren, you've seen our messages, by the way, to our accounts that we have our first American radio station that is interested in carrying the Rod Pedersen Show daily.
How about that?
Right. It starts with one. They treat us like lepers in Canada, but down in the States, they love the RP Show. Figure that one out. Figure that one out. No politics down here. But they love our NFL coverage. They love our pro football coverage. And hockey coverage, too, believe it or not. And I'm not going to say where the market is, but it's a big one. And we're excited. I hope that we can get something worked out. Hey, by the way, what's on at the movies this week with Landmark Cinemas? Bullet Train. In theaters now. Brad Pitt stars as Ladybug, an unlucky assassin, determined to do his job peacefully after one too many gigs gone off the rails. Fate, however, may have other plans as Ladybug's latest mission puts him on a collision course with lethal adversaries from around the globe, all with connected yet conflicting objectives on the world's fastest train. From the director of Deadpool 2, David Leitch, the end of the line is only the beginning in a wild, non-stop thrill ride through modern-day Japan. For our viewers, text movies right now to 902-518-3033, our text line to be entered to win tickets and treats at Landmark Cinemas. Winners picked every week to go to the movies with the RP Show. We got a couple minutes left here as we move to point 4. I said we would talk about a different NHL team every day. What came from NHL.com today was the Nashville Predators. And I'm like, even though we've heard from Predators fans, we've got mail from them. Interestingly enough, Mississippi, apparently the Predators are very big there. They're not that interesting to me, not today. So let's talk about the Winnipeg Jets. Moose, Paul Stastny's left. He signed with the Carolina Hurricanes. He was one of the latest free agents to come off the board. They got a new goalie there in David Riddick. I looked at it very quickly. I mean, we know enough about the Winnipeg Jets. We watch all their games. People say that Kevin Cheveldayoff, their general manager, is hiding. That's what some Jets fans have said. And I'm like, no, if you actually look at their offseason transactions, they've been extremely busy. Nobody was expecting them to add anybody. They've re-signed Mason Appleton, which I don't understand the furor over Mason Appleton and why everybody loves him so much. They signed Big Save David Riddick. But I want you in the break and the viewers to think about what the potential outlook might be for the Winnipeg Jets in the Central Division when they missed the playoffs last year, and you consider every other team in the divisions trying to get better as well, except for maybe the Chicago Blackhawks. Where do the Jets fit in, and who's going to be their X factor to success in this upcoming season when training camp begins in a couple weeks? So sit on that. Jets fans, we want to hear from you, and we'll continue the warm-up when we return. It's the RP Show, and we are broadcasting live on the Game Plus television network. We're also live streaming on YouTube, and you can always catch the podcast wherever the best podcasts are found, including Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow, I've never had such a welcome.
Number 16, a legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games.
Oh, Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Hey, the RP Show continues on this Wednesday. We're brought to you in part by Edo Japan. Edo Japan's fast and friendly service plus online ordering options is easy and convenient when you're on the go. Moose, couple things before we jump into the hardcore sports talk, just some of the fun things. Number one, you saw on my Instagram story that I discovered a Dog the Bounty Hunter marathon last night on television. It's the I think H2O network. Did you? And then, of course, I immediately started Wikipediaing the guy. Did you know Dog the Bounty Hunter's real name's Dwayne Chapman? He's only 5'7" and has been married 6 times. Did you know that?
I did not. That's all new.
Nor did I. And he's got 12 kids. Another one, my personal phone through AT&T is blowing up with football people across the country, and specifically in Calgary, that are Jake Maier fans. Him getting the start, we learned this morning, at quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders. Now, it would seem that Justin Dunk, Canada's Adam Schefter, you wouldn't think I need to kiss his butt anymore. He's retweeting my take that I won't believe that Bo's not starting until Dave Dickinson announces it. Well, Dave announced it today by virtue of their depth chart coming out. So something seems to be going on in Calgary. Changing of the guard, potentially. I don't know if we're shocked. But Bo being healthy enough, as far as we know, but not starting, is a watershed day in the Canadian Football League and in Calgary. And by the way, Stevens, watching in North Dakota, writes in and says, "Greetings and hallucinations. Will you be able to help counsel Bo to recover the starting quarterback position? Cloudy and 14 in Minot, North Dakota. Great show." I don't counsel people for what Bo's going through for the most part, but let's put it this way, Darren. His refusal to not come on this program is kind of the opposite of the RP bump, wouldn't you say? Maybe if Bo came on, he would get the starting job back for the Calgary Stampeders. What do you think?
Yeah, it's kind of the opposite, right? It is. I mean, the RP bump, you come on the show, good things happen. If you refuse to come on the show, well, maybe this is that. But I don't know what it's going to take. And sometimes it just happens that you don't have it anymore. And I don't know if it's a drive, a skill thing, if there's nagging injuries. I'm not sure what it is. If there's just, maybe he needs a change of scenery. I'm not sure. It would be very weird to see Bo Levi Mitchell in another uniform that's not the Calgary Stampeders red and white. That would be very, very weird. But it happens. And it happens with great quarterbacks. All the great quarterbacks have played with multiple teams. Doug Flutie played and had success, in Calgary and then in Toronto. Damon Allen, all of them. Anthony Calvillo, was in the U.S. and bounced around before he ended up with Montreal. But good quarterbacks. Henry Burris, another one who you think is just never going to leave. Sometimes it's okay. So it's going to be tough for Stamps fans if this is the end.
Well, who saw this coming? I didn't. And that's from someone who spent 17 weeks in Calgary here in this year of 2022. Jack in Alberta writes that he says, Bo's legacy is still written in stone as having the highest winning percentage in CFL history. A couple of throwing arm shoulder surgeries and age is catching up with Bo. I'm in his corner no matter what. From Ryan in Toronto, he says, I hope the relationship is intact. If not, Bo playing elsewhere is inevitable. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says if Bo does not feel he can play at the highest level, he could very well retire. So my point is, they're writing the epitaph on Bo Levi Mitchell's career. Who saw that coming? And I'll say this now, I was afraid to report it. I always don't know what I can report or what I can't versus, what I hear and whom do I believe, but what I heard was Bo Levi Mitchell saw the doctors of the Houston Astros this offseason when he was home in Katy, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston. He got a clean bill of health. I'm not sure he underwent any procedure with them, but he was feeling 100% going into training camp. So if physically he's struggling now, I don't really understand it. Now I want to flip back to the Winnipeg Jets for a second. There's all kinds of comments coming there. That's today's team that I said that we would examine here a little bit on the RP show. BW in the chat says, are there any Manitoba-raised NHL players that would go home to play for the Jets? Boy, Darren, I feel like that would take more time than we have here right now. Speaking of Winnipeg boys, Rod Black's going to be with us next segment. I wonder if he has a take on this. But I just remember sitting down looking at the Jets roster a few years ago and going, man, there's a lot of Americans and Europeans here. Not that many Canadians. So all of a sudden we want to reverse course and sign those guys and draft those guys when that was never the plan before. Do you not agree? This is the John Paddock strategy. As long as you win, nobody cares where you're from. But now because they missed the playoffs, we got to sign local kids. Seems like they got it a little backwards to me.
Yeah. And, signing the local kids is great because it gets, that fan base engaged and it builds an identity, a team in Western Canada that's got Western Canadian kids playing on it. Like, you got a great brand and it works for somebody like the Calgary Flames and maybe the Winnipeg Jets to have the Prairie Boys, on the Prairie team from Saskatchewan and Alberta and Manitoba, and it would be really great. But it's not always the case. I look at, the Red Wings of the 90s when they won the 2 Stanley Cups and they had Konstantinov and Fedorov and Igor Larionov and they had some Canadians. They had Yzerman and Draper and Shannon, but they all became lovable. When you win, it doesn't matter where you're from. You're right. But if you're trying to build an identity, it might be cool for Winnipeg to become the Prairie team in the NHL.
Well, it would just take a massive rebuilding effort. And for those that just tuned in, because we see that they are here on YouTube and Plus Game Plus Television, where we're available on Bell MTS Cable in the wonderful province of Manitoba with Game Plus Television, people are writing in saying Jonathan Taves needs to come to Winnipeg. Elam says Captain Sirius. There would have needed to be a more concerted effort to do that prior to just now. And I don't like criticizing for people in jobs that I've never done. And I like Kevin Cheveldayoff personally. I love the Cheveldayoff family. I do believe Chevy knows what he's doing. But you guys, are there any Manitoba players? Have you heard of the Vegas Golden Knights? Have you heard of them? They're all Manitoba players. And Ryan Reeves, Keegan Kolazar, Cody Eakin. There are Adam Brooks. Spent some time with Winnipeg, but is signed with the Philadelphia Flyers. I go back to this business of I want local players on my team. And in Winnipeg, where we all understand it's not a free agent destination, we know that. Don't you think, Darren, if you were drafting local kids, that they would at least want to come home and play for the Jets? That would mean a lot to an Adam Brooks, but maybe not as much to a Patrick Laine, which we've seen.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you want to get guys to come back, you have to have guys who understand the city, have ties to family. The opposite is true, though, too. When you grow up in the city and you have the opportunity, sometimes you want to see the world. And the last thing you want to do is play at home. You want to go play in Florida. You want to play in Seattle, or you want to play in Vegas or New York under the bright lights. But that might be their edge, is to try and find people who know what it's like, who have family, who love the city, and want to, build their own families next to, mom and dad and grandma and grandpa and those types of things. That would be their competitive advantage.
Well, and the thing with us in the media is we can sit back and watch what's happening with the benefit of having no idea what's going on behind the scenes. And trust me, that's a benefit. I'd rather not know what's going on behind the scenes. But the Vancouver Canucks went to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup against the Boston Bruins in 2011. And shortly after that, their window closed. No Stanley Cups, and they've been stumbling around in the wilderness since. And with the Winnipeg Jets, never got to a Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, but they did go pretty far, I believe, to a conference final, but the window's been closed every day since. And this season, when they saw it slipping through their hands, I thought it would have been their opportunity to start the rebuild and blow it up. But most teams don't want to do that for a lot of reasons. The fans don't want to hear it. A lot of times it costs a general manager a job. And I'll say it again, I can't wait for training camps to open in the National Hockey League to see what Paul Maurice is doing with these Florida Panthers, where, quite frankly, he's already going into the season. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Panthers fans are already down on him. I've been here now for almost a week, and they're like, who is this Paul Maurice guy? He's never won anything. That's America. All right? We don't care that he's coached 1,000 games. What's he won? Again, they always say you haven't won anything until you do. Anyways, on that CFL note, the poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center is this: which is Canada's game of the week in the Canadian Football League? Thursday, Calgary at Winnipeg. Friday, doubleheader, Hamilton at Toronto, or Sask at BC. And Saturday, Ottawa at Edmonton. And the last I saw running away with it is the Stampeders and the Blue Bombers on Thursday night. So, .5, Alabama football coach Nick Saban is getting a new 8-year contract worth at least $93.6 million U.S. The 70-year-old Nick Saban has led the Crimson Tide to 6 national titles. The announcement comes a month after Georgia coach Kirby Smart agreed to a 10-year deal worth more than $110 million. The Bulldogs beat Alabama in the Natty last year, as you know. The coaches poll is out, as is the USA Today poll, and it's not surprising. We've picked pretty good. Well, I've been an Alabama team fan since day one. You just jumped on board with Michigan. Depending on which poll you trust, they're ranked 4th or 6th, Darren. So a lot of college football talk, I think, coming up on the RP show. By the way, Rod's Rant brought to you by Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Not ranting today, but if I find something to rant about, it's for Bronco. Find everything you need to know about our services, financing, product information, and more at broncoplumbing.com. And while we have time, let's do it. Let's play Deal or No Deal. Deal or No Deal, CFL edition for Week 12 in the CFL. I will lay out the betting lines as provided by our exclusive betting partner, BetRegal.ca, and Darren will decide whether or not he's going to take the bet. Are you ready, Moose? Let's go.
Let's go.
Thursday night it opens. Jake Mayer and the Calgary Stampeders at Zach Caleros and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Bombers are favored by 5. Deal or no deal?
I'll take the deal. I think the Winnipeg Blue Bombers will win that game, and I think they'll win by a touchdown.
Friday, it's Hamilton at Toronto. The Argos are favored by 5. Deal or no deal at BMO?
I'll take that deal as well. Usually I'm a little wishy-washy, but I'll take the Argos to cover the spread.
Friday night, the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Cody Fajardo visit the BC Lions. Michael O'Connor makes his first career start in place of the injured Nathan Rourke, and the Lions are still 4-point favorites. Deal or no deal?
This is the hardest game by far of the week because you don't know what you're going to get out of Michael O'Connor, but the Riders are struggling. I still think, though, Cody's got something to prove. So no deal. I'll take the Riders in this one.
Saturday, it's Ottawa at Edmonton. Second of a home-and-home series. The Elks are favored by 3.5 at home. Deal or no deal?
Deal. Elks will roll, I think. It's just don't know what we have out of Ottawa right now.
All right, fans, do us a favor. Go sign up for BetRegal.ca. Free to play right now. Click on Create Free Sportsbook. You can also download the app. They're rocking and rolling with it at BetRegal. Moose, we'll see you in hour 2.
You bet. See that.
Jays podcaster, reporter Mike Wilner coming up next hour. When we return, the great Rod Black. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network. We're also live streaming on YouTube, and you can always catch the podcast wherever you enjoy your podcasts, including Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
All right, RP Show continues. Just so I'm clear, do we have any indication that we're going to have Rod Black today, or what? Yeah, okay. So that's what we're doing. And we've pledged on the RP Show. We made the executive decision this week that we're going to talk about NHL every single day and one team different each day. And today it's the Winnipeg Jets, so we're talking about local players. John Ohm writes in, he says, if and when the Winnipeg Jets win a Stanley Cup, they will get local talent to play here. By the way, did it ever happen at Edmonton during the Cup years for local talent to play there? I don't know. What do you call Grant Fuhr? What do you call Mark Messier? Yeah, they had local guys. What are you saying, John? With a lot of comments here. Ryan in Toronto. Great lineup today as always. Thanks to the RP team for always booking such great guests. From T. Will on YouTube says, most of these Winnipeg players have been living with billet families in other towns since they were 13. You think they love Winnipeg so much they're willing to lose or make less money to play there? Maybe. Patrolman Pete writes in and he says, I don't think the Jets can try to build a team on Manitoba players, but maybe WHLers in general may be a bit more willing to re-sign than someone from Michigan or Minnesota. Again, why can't they build a team on Manitoba players? The Vegas Golden Knights did. It's worked out pretty well. Anyways, we're starting to get into fake news here. Elam in Winnipeg says, Mark Stone to the Jets? Nah, I don't want to get into that. And by the way, I was only casually with half an eye watching the Bo Levi Mitchell situation. And I will apologize to Justin Duncan 3 down because he seems to have his feathers somewhat ruffled over me saying, I'll believe that Bo doesn't start when Dave Dickinson announces it. I guess it was Dunk who initially announced or said yesterday that Bo's not going to start. So he knew something. But I didn't know it was Dunk reporting it. I thought it was a beat writer in Calgary. Either way, Bo Levi Mitchell is not starting at quarterback for the for the Calgary Stampeders at the Winnipeg Blue Bombers on Thursday. I guess I should follow it a little more closely. Sports update, veteran forward Hillary Knight didn't pull any punches on Tuesday in proclaiming the USA as the best team in the world heading into the Women's World Hockey Championship, which starts Thursday in Denmark. The Americans lost the gold medal game to Canada in both the Beijing Winter Games and last year's World Championship. Canada begins defense of its world title on Thursday with a game against Finland, while the United States faces Japan earlier in the day. The Toronto Blue Jays spotted the Red Sox a second-inning run last night and then added 8 of their own in the third en route to a 9-3 victory at Fenway Park in the first of 3 games against Boston. It was the Blue Jays' 5th win in 6 outings, while the Red Sox have lost 4 of their last 5. Righty Jose Barrios will pitch for Toronto Wednesday night, while Boston will send righty Brian Bello to the hill. How about Robbie Ray? Remember him? The guy with the big guns and the women would say the nice butt? He took a no-hit effort into the 7th inning on Tuesday night. Mitch Haniger and Eugenio Suarez both hit 2-run homers, and the Seattle Mariners beat the Washington Nationals 4-2 Tuesday. Robbie Ray, last year's American League Cy Young winner with Toronto, had issued just a pair of walks through 6 innings before allowing a leadoff home run in the 7th. The Nationals haven't had a starting pitcher credited with a win in 40 games. The longest drought in Major League Baseball history. This sports update is brought to you by Edo Japan. Edo Japan's fast and friendly service plus online ordering options is easy and convenient when you're on the go. Still no Rod Black, I see, so let me check in on us. What up? Hello? Okay, so Dougal Cameron watching in Calgary, huge Stampeders fan. On the news of the day in the Canadian Football League, the Bo Levi won't start. Dougal says, my guess is a little gamesmanship by Dickinson. He makes Winnipeg prepare for 2 quarterbacks now. Well, again, the sense that I'm getting here is that Jake Maier, listed atop the depth chart, will start. Dunk said it first on Tuesday, and now everybody's jumped on board with that, including the play-by-play guy of the Stamps, Mark Steven, including the beat writer, Danny Austin, and whomever else. Jake Maier is the guy. Now, how's the game going to go? Winnipeg Blue Bombers favored by 5 against Jake Maier and the Stampeders. I see people writing in here saying there's far more behind the scenes going on with the Calgary Stampeders. I don't know. I can only go by what I see on the field. And Jake Maier is going to trot out onto the field. We assume Bo Levi's healthy, and this is a performance-based decision. I did read all the quotes. I read them at 3 down from Dave Dickinson saying we're in a performance-based business. I don't think there's any politics happening here, although I would be interested in getting into this discussion next hour with Moose. And I think he's old enough to remember this. For instance, I don't think any coach is going to start a quarterback for political reasons versus the guy that he thinks is going to win him, give him the best chance to win. Now, 2003, 2004, we're talking nearly close to 20 years ago, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were playing Nealon Green and leaving Henry Burris on the bench. A blind man could see that Henry Burris was the better quarterback. That was a political reason, not a performance-based reason, for announcing your starting quarterback, which I want to get into with Darren. Can you, viewers, give me an example that you know of where there's a political reason dictating decisions like this versus what's going to win for you? We're going to take a time out, and we'll maybe delve into this with Rod Black when we return. You're watching the RP Show live from sunny and hot South Florida on Game Plus TV and 24-hour streaming radio, streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The venue at River Cree, bringing you the best in live entertainment. One of the world's most gifted and accomplished ventriloquists, Terry Fader brings his repertoire of comedy, music, and unique impersonations to the venue at River Cree this September for one night only. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
Blafusco's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood.
That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
The RP show continues on this Wednesday. Daytime sports talk coming at you from South Florida. We got a lot of topics on the go here, and I'm going to jump right into it with our next guest, the peerless, the award winner, Rod Black, the original voice of the NBA's Toronto Raptors. Rodney, welcome to the program. Host of the Rodcast. What's up? What's up, pal?
Love you. Wait a second. You were in Edmonton last week. Do you have a home anymore? I mean, look at now. Why are you in Miami? Where are you, in Miami?
Yeah, close to it. A little bit north of there.
Nice.
No, Boca Raton.
You have the best life. Of all the rods I know, you have the best life of all the rods.
How about that?
I'm not arguing at all. Can you please give us an update in your life? Last we talked to you, you were driving your son to NCAA school to play ball. What's up with Rod Black?
Well, what's up with me? I'm currently the private masseuse for Leo Routens.
How about that?
No.
That's not new, though.
No, that's not it. What am I doing? I've been busy doing a lot of stuff on the air. This Rodcast that I started, which I probably stole the name if you didn't have it already, but you have your own name. So I'm doing a lot of work with North Star Betting right now. Everybody's into gaming. Everybody's doing podcasts. I said it before, podcasts are like buttholes. Everybody's got one. Some are stinkier than others. And so I just got off the line actually for one that we're going to drop soon with John Gibbons. Gibby is joined Twitter, which is crazy. So I'm busy with that and some other projects, my own production company, busy with that. Going to try to pivot soon and do some work elsewhere and get back in the booth. And I do miss doing games for sure. I'm going to start doing that again. Wherever that might be, perhaps even a little league game. I'm not sure. If you have a game, if you have a bar mitzvah, if you have a party, call me. I'll do it. But also just very busy with that and being a dad. Again, I'm actually driving my one of my sons down to Baltimore, Maryland. He's going to be going to school at Coppin State next year. Busy watching my older son, Tyler, playing minor league baseball. He got a little banged up, so he's out of the lineup right now. Watching another one of my sons as he's trying to get into what we do. Silly fool. And my daughter, who's a hockey player / actress, singer, I'm busy with her. So I got a busy plate, but I really enjoy what I'm doing now. And then every once in a while I get to join you, which I'm very, very happy about.
Well, it's interesting, and thank you for that. I appreciate you joining us. And my mind's flashing. For one, folks, follow Rod on Instagram at RodBlackTV. I saw you on a boat on Lake Muskoka, and I'm like, you started talking. I'm like, there it is, the magic, the voice, the presence. He's still got it. Number one. Number two, I don't miss. Just one sec. I don't miss the games. I'll tell you this. I'm going to the Dolphins and the Eagles Saturday. I got a meeting coming up with the Panthers about coverage plans for this upcoming year. So I like what I'm doing. I don't miss doing the games, but I think that's just me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do miss the games. You know what I miss mostly? I miss the people I work with. I miss game day. I love game day. Maybe because it goes back to I have an athletic background somewhat. and I really miss game day. I kind of miss that. I don't miss the BS around the games. I don't miss the politics. I don't miss the management within the broadcast industry, within the bosses around our entire industry. I don't miss any of that stuff because we go through enough of it. But I really kind of do miss. I miss the outcomes. But I love watching the games. And it's funny you talked about that Instagram thing and all that. I'm still getting used to this social media. I still don't know how to post stuff. I'm still like this OG guy. I have no clue. You know, I have to ask my kids, what is a post? What is a reel? I'm getting used to that. I do like doing that stuff as you are. You've become very successful at it. But it is crazy now. Anybody, well, clearly, if we can become broadcasters, anybody can become a broadcaster. And guess what? Everybody's becoming a broadcaster thanks to this.
Yeah, but not everybody's doing it well. And listen, as a Winnipeg guy, I got to ask you this. We're profiling the Jets today on this show because we do it every day, Winnipeg Jets. How much are you following Winnipeg sports and the Jets and the Bombers? Because they seem to really be up backwards in the cycle right now. Jets on the bottom, Bombers on top.
Yeah, one thing I've really, through the years, that's a really good question because people ask me all the time, and I know there's always people, especially when you're doing CFL, oh, you're from Winnipeg, you're a Bomber fan or such and such. They always say, you know, I've kind of lost that fandom. I do keep on top of it. It is still my hometown. I keep on top of what's going on in the prairies. I keep on top of what's going on with the CFL. Certainly not as much as I used to when you're doing games, you know what these guys eat for breakfast and you know who's fifth on the depth chart. I'm really been watching the CFL with interest this year and the Bombers. And, you know, maybe it wasn't you, but a few weeks ago, somebody asked me if there was going to be an undefeated season in Winnipeg. And it's so hard to do. And why would you do it anyways? Because the game you want to win is the last one of the year. So, you know, I do keep on top of it. And I do think if there's a team that is probably closest to my heart, it probably would be the Jets because that's where I started. I was a broadcaster for the Jets way back when. And, I one of the most heartbreaking things that I ever had happen to me is growing up, and I moved to Toronto, was when the Jets left. I'll never forget that night. I was watching on the television like you were. I was in a southern clime, and I had to watch the final game of my team growing up. So, you know, they were my team growing up. Bombers weren't so much my team. I was more of I was an Alouettes fan. But the Jets, and I do follow, you know, what's going on there and, you know, the machinations of what happened behind the bench last year. And you watch what's going on with the Scheifele situation and everything else. They were so close. You know, I think they were so close a couple of years ago, and it's amazing what happened. I look what's going on in Calgary. I mean, that is startling to me. And what Brad Treliving has been able to do, and I would arguably say that team might be better than they were. And that does not happen in this world of sports, particularly in hockey, when everybody pressed that panic button, Rod, and said, oh my gosh, they lost Johnny Hockey. Oh my gosh, look at Tkachuk's gone. To be able to do what Brad did there, I think it's not a miracle. It's very smart, intelligent. He's a very good hockey man. And I'll tell you what, I think the Flames are going to burn bright again this year.
I think we only, 30 seconds are left. Quickly, where can people follow the Rodcast?
Well, you can follow it at North Star Bets. You can follow it at me at Rod Black TV. We've got some great ones. Jeremy Roenick this week. I don't know if you watch. JR is fabulous. We've got Barkley coming on in the next few weeks. I only have big names, so I got to have you on it as well. And I love doing it. Like you, I love talking to people. I'm curious. I ask a lot of questions. And John Gibbons is my next one. Can't wait. So
thank you, Rodney.
And by the way, hey, wear your copper toe.
To the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood.
That's why we need donors every day. The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy. Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
Rough Riders on Monday named Cody Fajardo their starting quarterback. I did not hear news out of Calgary of the same, but you're going to pay a guy the highest paid Rough Rider in franchise history in this all-or-nothing year. I didn't really see the explanation from Craig Dickinson as to why they're going back to Cody Fajardo, but I also don't need it. Your guy is your guy, and you ride him until you can't ride him anymore. Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of the RP Show. Like we do daily, we're coming in hot. This is episode number 827 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. We have all of Canada to ourselves on television, on Game Plus TV, and 31 U.S. states, including Florida, as we welcome back to the program the Moose. He's loose. Moose DuPont, the owner, president, and CEO of the RP Show Corporation. And Moose, for the first time ever, 827 shows. It's the first time we've had to cut somebody off with the credits in the middle of them talking, and it happened to Rod Black. If there was anybody that I could like to think that it would happen to or that would have that honor, it's Rod Black. Did you catch the end of Hour 1?
Yes, I did. And, you know, it doesn't usually happen. We're usually pretty good at that. But, hey, when it's time to go to break, it's time to go to break.
Yeah, you'd think he'd know. By the way, Donna watching on YouTube, and I think also Game Plus, she says, nice to see the relaxed side of both Rods. And Carlos in Indianapolis says, agreed. One of the nice things about this show, seeing people in their environs. Look, they're comfortable environs. We're going to get back to the breaking news of the day. It is that Bo Levi Mitchell will not start at quarterback for the Calgary Stampeders Thursday at Winnipeg. There's that. That's really the only other news. The only news in the CFL today. We're taking a look at the Winnipeg Jets today in NHL circles, and I'll say it again. I'm sure you're not happy me mentioning this, but we've had our first American radio station reach out and say they'd like to carry the RP show. And I just think that's exciting. I hope we can get a deal done. It only needs to start with one. And they like our NFL coverage and our NHL coverage. CFL, but there's a lot of comments on the Bo thing. Darren, I want yours on this. Rod Black said he's a Jets fan because he's an original Winnipeg Jets fan. Was never a Bomber fan. He was an Alouette fan. Who were your first teams? And this goes to all of our viewers. People say that we have the best audience participation of any show on television, and we do. Who were your first teams? They say you'd never forget your first. My first favorite NHL team was the Montreal Canadiens, and my dad forbade me from cheering for them. It's not allowed. Pick another one in this house. That was my dad. So then it became the Oilers. And it worked out pretty well. First CFL team was the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but followed very closely by the Toronto Argonauts. And that was primarily because I liked their uniform. I'm a big fan of blue. Favorite baseball team was the Montreal Expos. That was my favorite first team. Favorite first NFL team, Dallas Cowboys. And what other leagues am I forgetting? Do you remember yours?
I don't know.
Do you remember yours?
Yeah. Well, in hockey, it was the Maple Leafs. One of our family friends, he was so cool. He had a TV in his bedroom. That was the coolest thing. And he had a Felix Potvin picture on his wall. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm going to cheer for the Leafs, right? So the Leafs were my first favorite hockey team. In baseball, it was the Seattle Mariners. I was a big Ken Griffey Jr. fan. And then it became the Blue Jays. I liked Ken Griffey Jr. In the CFL, it was the Calgary Stampeders. And it was that 95 Grey Cup that really got me in. The first CFL team was the Stampeders. I liked Dave Sapunjas and those guys. And then NFL, it was the Titans was my favorite first, and away we roll. I'm trying to think of what I missed on those Yorkton Terriers in the SJHL. I had a couple of cousins playing for the Yorkton Terriers. So there you go.
Yeah, junior hockey. Junior hockey was what in mine. The Regina Pats, God's team. And it's funny because Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes that and he says, my very first high-level hockey game was the Calgary Wranglers. So that's pretty cool. All the viewers, can you please tell me what was your first favorite team in the variety of leagues and the reasons why? And the text line's open, 902-518-3033 on that. Now, the other thing, Bo Levi sitting down. I've got a lot of messages have come in from Calgary, and I'll say it again. Not that I feel like I really need to or have to, but I just want to. It was Justin Dunk at 3 Down, who said that Bo Levi Mitchell is going to be sat down and Jake Mayer will start this game Thursday for Calgary at Winnipeg. I didn't see who reported it. I didn't believe it. I thought it was based solely on the fact that Jake Mayer was taking first-team reps for the Stampeders, and we were told in Calgary that Bo doesn't always take the first-team reps, so don't read into that. Lo and behold, the Stamps named Jake Mayer the starter today, and Dunk is strutting around like a peacock in the crowd. Good for him. He earned it. But I see Ken Gill watching in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and he has written in and says, I wonder if Bo Levi will go to Houston in the XFL. His contract's up at the end of the year. We have not heard anywhere near the end of this. We're seeing people saying that Bo is taking this news classily and like a pro. But deep down, it doesn't feel good. He's a competitor. Maybe he feels that he's let the team down. Maybe he feels the team's let him down. I don't know. But could you imagine who saw it coming that potentially 2022 was the last year Bo Levi would be in the Canadian Football League? That he could go to the XFL. What do you think?
Yeah, nobody saw this coming. You thought maybe, he'll slow down but still have success, and we'll see this gradual landing of the plane, right, of the career as it slowly starts. But it happened really fast, really fast. And it started with the injuries, and then this year hasn't been able to get things on track. The XFL is interesting because I don't know that Bo has any NFL aspirations anymore, or if that's still in the cards. But if he does, maybe it's the XFL that's the route to get there, to get it back into the U.S. Maybe he wants to play close to home and, be in that environment that The Rock has created. in the XFL. I think there's going to be a lot of appeal for players to want to go and be a part of that and be a part of what the Rock is building. So I could see it. I could see him quarterbacking the Houston's XFL franchise. I really could. I don't know that I can still see him with another Canadian Football League team yet. I just can't see it yet. I don't know what it is. I think the XFL would be more likely than another CFL team.
So we'll get into that. I just, from some of our P1s, the Rod Squad, our regular viewers, my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat says the first team she ever cheered for was the Milestone Flyers. Hey, a team for which I played. Arlen Bruce, AB3, CFL great. He writes in, he says, I fell in love with the NHL last season in Edmonton. This season I'm going to cheer on the Canucks. So have Sarah Orleski contact me when the Jets play in Vancouver. Great show, Rod and Moose. I feel like we need to get Arlen Bruce on soon. Can we make that happen? And furthermore, we're kind of going, well, we always go off-road. We should be brought to you by the 4x4s produced by Capital GMC, right? But T. Will in Winnipeg says, can you smell what the Rock is cooking? You saw that photo, I assume. Maybe you didn't. Our guy Jay Noakes covers the XFL down in Houston. He was at Disney World, and he saw a banner on the wall for the XFL partnering with Disney, and clearly ESPN's going to broadcast the XFL games. And you think maybe The Rock might know somebody at Disney? You think maybe The Rock, as the number one entertainment star on the planet, might know somebody at Disney? So as Jay Noakes from Houston was pointing out, how many people go through Disneyland in a day? Anybody want to say? Like 40 to 50,000. Disneyland, Disney World. They're all walking by these banners for the XFL. So I retweeted that and said, who would want to partner with Disney? What a bunch of losers Disney is. And The Rock? What a loser. The CFL sure doesn't want to. So, well, here's John in Edmonton says, Bo could go to the United States Football League or the XFL. Well, there is no, wait a minute, there is a USFL. 42 to 46 of their players signed on NFL rosters this season. I don't even know what my point was there other than the future of Bo Levi Mitchell. And I'm sorry, I'm done with that because I wanted to ask you this. An actual sports discussion. I said back in 03-04, the Riders went with the decision to play Nealon Green over Henry Burris, and we couldn't figure out why. And frankly, I was sitting, as I'm talking to you right now, with Danny Barrett in his office, the desk in between us. And I'm like, DB, why are you playing Nealon over Henry? Anybody and his dog can see that Henry's the better quarterback. And he goes, did you play the position? That was the end of the discussion, and Danny is now the running backs coach of the Houston Texans. I believe the reason that Nealon was appointed the starter ahead of Henry Burris was that Shivers and Barrett were mad that Henry went to the NFL. I believe that. Their whole rebuilding efforts were focused around Henry Burris, and he went to the NFL, which he ended up starting on for the Chicago Bears on Monday Night Football. So when he got cut in the NFL and came back, they said, you need to wait in line because Nealon's here. Nealon's our guy. But they left the best quarterback on the bench. That was a political reason right there that dictated the starting quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And somebody wrote in here earlier and said, who do you think made that decision, Roy or Danny? I would say the two of them made the decision in tandem together. By the way, it's 1:11 Eastern. Yeah. 11:11 where you are. Just wanted to point that out. We're on the right path, Moose. Obviously.
Yes, we are. Obviously.
I don't think Jake Mayer, I don't think there's no way that any of this kind of thinking went into Jake Mayer being named the starter for Calgary. But do you recall or even hear, have you heard of a decision to start somebody not based on what's best for the team?
No, but, when you look at the Nealon versus Henry thing and everything else, they might have thought that was best for the team too. When you have a guy go to the NFL, that maybe it's the entitlement thing of I can leave and I can come back and walk right into the front of the classroom, right in the front of the bus and be the starter again. when it's like, you haven't been with this team through camp and through all the stuff we've gone through. Nealon has, and we're going to keep him as our guy, and you're going to have to wait your turn now. And it could be that, might not be the best guy playing, but could be a culture thing. And I know that Dave and John in Calgary, Huffnagel and Dickinson, probably spent a lot of time talking about this together. We want to make this move. We think this is right. What's it going to do to the culture of our locker room? Bo's been the guy for so long, right? What do the receivers think? What's the coordinators think? How's the quarterback room going to adjust to this? All that would go into it. And obviously, those are two really bright football guys that would know that making this move is going to be good for the football team, good for the culture. So we'll see where it goes.
I love the analysis by you. And by the way, Serena and I were walking around the neighborhood yesterday, and I said, I defer to Moose for all football, tactical analysis and discussion, and I'll handle the hockey. Not that you can't, but hockey's, number one for me, and football's number one for you. It's just another way of looking at it on that Nealon Henry thing. For instance, a couple comments here. Ken Gill in Scranton says the USFL won't pay what the XFL will for quarterbacks. Landry Jones' contract in 2020 was close to $1 million. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Henry Burris was never going to re-sign in Saskatchewan, and Shivers knew it. Nope, you're wrong. In that one, I was right in the middle of it because Henry was calling my house. I was at my parents' house, actually, in Milestone, Saskatchewan. I guess I'll go down this road again and say it because clearly Jeff, the Stamps fan, hadn't heard the story. I know you have, Darren, so bear with me. But my mother answered the phone, the wonderful Judy Pedersen. She knew Henry because my mom worked in the Ryder store. And she goes, just a minute, I'll get Rod. We miss you, Henry. I'll get Roddy. And she put me on the phone, and Hank said, Rod, I specifically told Roy and Danny to not call me to go through my agent, Ken Staninger, but they insist on cutting to me. Cutting by them and going to me. And he talked about what the Riders were offering and what the Calgary Stampeders were offering. And he didn't want to leave Saskatchewan. But Roy Shivers, we believe, and I don't see any reason to think this isn't true, Roy was making about $250,000 a year as the GM, and he wasn't going to pay anybody more than he was being paid. This became an ego thing. And Calgary was offering double that, plus SUVs, plus accommodations, plus off-season jobs, and a job. When I say jobs, it's for Henry and his wife. So no, Henry didn't want to leave Saskatchewan. And that's the story that Henry was going to put into his book, but he's waited 10 years and nobody cares anymore. So I'm sorry to go off on that, but it's something that's very near and dear to my heart that people don't understand. And by the way, we're going to have to break here. We'll come back on this. Darren, where's Henry now? Where's Henry now?
The NFL.
Doing what?
Coaching in the NFL.
Where's Roy?
I'm not sure.
Exactly.
How about that?
So Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, that's interesting, Rod. Not just two pretty faces right here. Anyways, we'll continue these discussions and more when we come back. On the way, Mike Wilner from the Toronto Star and the Deep Left Field podcast. You are watching the RP Show on Game Plus Television Network. Also, YouTube Live and 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
The Venue at River Cree, bringing in the best in live entertainment. One of the world's most gifted and accomplished ventriloquists, Terry Fader brings his repertoire of comedy, music, and unique impersonations to the Venue at River Cree this September for one night only. Get your tickets now at rivercreeresort.com.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
It is the RP Show on a beautiful day in Southern California, and the Moose is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. Darren Moose Dupont is with us. Shifting around things a little bit, it'll be Mike Wilner in the 4th segment today. That is Overtime. He of the Blue Jays coverage with the Toronto Star and the Deep Left Field podcast. By the way, this Moose, this today is the reason why we're doing a show like this, to get into the nuts and bolts of sports talk, because it is fun. And just regarding that Henry Burris story and the Riders, Donna watching and says in the chat, nice to know that story gives us another side than just money for once. T. Will in Winnipeg says, at this rate, I think the Expos have a better chance of winning a championship than the Jets do. We're examining the Winnipeg Jets today. What we've discovered is that they're going to miss the playoffs again, and we can come back around on this segment. But you said something really interesting that I want to pick back up on. It almost sounds to me like you sign off on the Riders' decision to play Nealon Green over Henry Burris because Henry left to go to the NFL and show that he wasn't all in. Am I right on that? Do you think that they made the right decision by leaving the better quarterback on the bench? And the reason being, if other teams look at it that way and say, you go to the NFL, you deserted us, which is kind of what happened to Jordan Williams-Lambert with the Rough Riders, Darren. He went signed with the Bears, gets cut, comes back at Labor Day, and his spot's gone. Manny Arsenault is playing in his slot. He's not playing football anymore.
Yeah.
So is taking that NFL shot not something you should do? Stay with the sure thing? I'm confused.
Yeah, you should take the NFL shot. You should want your players to go and do that. But when you're coming back in, a quarterback is so vital to the team, and you've built your entire scheme around that quarterback. You've built everything, your cadences, your call. He's the leader now. And you're not just going to have somebody come in midway through and instantly be in charge. You can't have somebody come in and instantly be the captain of the team and instantly become the leader again, unless that was already there before. Nealon was the guy. So when Henry comes back in, he's got to come in as the number 2 because it's Nealon's team. Although if it doesn't work with Nealon and he's not producing, then you have to look at that succession plan. But you can't I don't think you can just walk back in from the NFL and assume the leadership role. It's not a punishment for going to the NFL. It's just, we've built this culture through training camp and through the start of the season, and we want to see that through. And if it doesn't work out, it's great that we've got this guy with NFL pedigree ready to roll.
Fair. And I have never run a team, or for that matter, a broadcast organization. I don't have designs to, and for that reason, I never will. But I would suggest I want the best people on the field. I want the best people on the air. And that's why we would win championships. And just to lastly, on the Burris thing, he didn't want to leave Saskatchewan. Circumstances made it that he had to leave. And if viewers want to know why I'm sitting in South Florida right now, that's why. Open your eyes. And it's worked out for Henry, and it's going to work out for us. Now, on the John in Edmonton says, did you see what the CEO and president of the Saskatchewan Roughriders said about ticket sales, Rod? I saw what you wrote in, John, that the ticket sales are down 9%, but I have zero interest in what the president of the Saskatchewan Roughriders has to say about anything. And as a matter of fact, with the financials of the team, I'm not going to say whom said this to me, but a few weeks ago, the topic of the Rider financials came up, and I said, what about this? When are we going to hear about this? And the fan said, and he's a close friend of mine, you know him, he goes, I don't care. I'm like, excuse me? You're a long-time season ticket holder. He goes, I don't care about that stuff anymore. Did you win or did you not? I've been thinking about it since. He's probably watching right now. What a novel. When you go into a restaurant, do you care what the paperwork says for at the local McDonald's you go to?
No.
I'm like, I don't think I care anymore. What a wonderful
was
way
it good?
To look at things.
Or was it bad?
Huh?
Yeah.
Was it
good
did you
or
win or did
bad?
you lose?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, John, if that would put an answer to your question about if I saw what the president of the Rough Riders said about ticket sales, I don't care. I turn on the television, I look, and I see the attendance is down. I don't need a statement from him or any other team president or owner. I don't. Now, I could open up the text line here, and I probably should. 902-518-3033. People are chiming in. Braden in the chat says, Casey Printers? ? I'm sorry. What about him? Did you not have a story about Casey Printers? He was one of your favorite players there. What was your story with Casey Printers?
It's
or was it not you?
Now. It wasn't me, but I was a Casey Printers fan for a while. I thought he was a pretty electric quarterback when he played, and I wanted to see him have a little more success, a little more longevity in the league than he had.
Another guy that had all the talent in the world, and I didn't know Casey Printers personally, so I shouldn't speak about him. I only go by what I hear, and then he wasn't as dedicated to his craft as he should be. But let's just say something about Nathan Rourke. This is similar to Bo, and we've got questions. I've just opened the text line. And there's comments about Bo losing his starting job with Calgary. And this is for 1 week. If Jake Mayer doesn't go out and light it up, you're going to see Bo starting next week. And maybe it's not the end of the world. We're probably making too much of it, but that's what we do in sports talk. But if you lose your place in a CFL and you go to the NFL, you give it up and you go to the NFL and you come back, should you get your spot back? It's so weird to even talk about that. Because the CFL is the American Hockey League of football. It just is. So if a guy signs to go to the NHL, good for you, man. Good luck. Hope to never see you again.
Yeah.
Stay up there. Nathan Rourke. Back to our discussion from an hour ago. I talked to that football guy in Mississippi today that said any NFL team would be frothing at the mouth to sign Nathan Rourke as a number 2 guy. So should Nathan Rourke not want to go to the NFL because he can stay and make more money long haul in Canada? Why did Bo turn down the Minnesota Vikings? I think Mike Riley could have signed in Jacksonville, but he didn't want to take the chance. He was making $500,000 in the CFL. So I guess Nathan Rourke has to sit and look at this. Now, to the text line, 902-518-3033. Jim's watching in Balgony regarding our question, who's the first team he ever cheered for? He said, when I was a kid, I picked my favorite teams because I liked anything the color orange. Crazy, I know. So his teams are the NHL Flyers, NFL Bengals, CFL Riders, because he's from Sask, and Major League Baseball Blue Jays. By that thinking, you should have liked the Orioles, but I digress. Kirk Burseth, watching on Game Plus television in Saskatoon, says, any chance Bo Levi Mitchell ends up in Saskatchewan next season? I addressed it in my column yesterday on Sunday. I addressed it on this show yesterday, so I'll let you address and give your thoughts, and if Bo Levi Mitchell will sign with the Saskatchewan Roughriders next season.
Yeah, I think that's a hard no for me, Doug, because I think rather than seeing him in another CFL uniform, I see him in the XFL first. I just do. I don't know why that is. I think, he would take a chance there rather than another Canadian Football League team. That's with no backstory of Bo. It's just a gut feeling, but it's also because he's been in Calgary his entire career, and I just can't picture him with another team. But, you look at friendly places where he might be able to have some success. There's going to be other places in the Canadian Football League he could go and thrive. Maybe it's Saskatchewan if he's got a rapport with Jason Moss. Could he mesh well with Paul LaPolice in Ottawa, and they could have a really great relationship, because it's always the coach or the coordinator and quarterback. That relationship breeds a lot of success, and maybe that could be two spots for him.
Arlen Bruce III watching in Vancouver. He says, I had to deal with the controversy in Toronto with Kerry Joseph and Michael Bishop. Bishop was the better quarterback, but KJ started.
How about that?
Interesting. I'll just leave that right there. Ryan and we had Michael Bishop in Sask. Ooh. Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, fun fact about Michael Bishop, he's the only player in arena football history to rush for over 100 yards in a game. No, I don't doubt that. Andrew Stout regarding ticket sales being down 9% in Sask. He says, who cares about what the ticket prices are? I care that the Rider offense is not innovative, no pass rush, and a coaching staff that seems lost. Just passing it along. And by the way, every situation is different. Bo Levi's, Mike Riley's, Nathan Rourke's. I don't think Nathan Rourke's passport matters at all when we're talking about this. What we do here, Darren, is not a whole lot different than what the athletes do. I think it took me a while to realize that, and I think the fans and the viewers have no idea what that is. I mean, for years and years and years, as the voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, I didn't really have an interest to leave unless it was a really big job. Plus, it was my home. So when TSN and Sportsnet came calling, which they did, they were offering me very low-level jobs. And I'll never forget TSN saying to me, well, you're in Saskatchewan. You must be dying to get out of there. That just pissed me off. That's what they actually thought. So no, but I'm like, I'm supporting a family of 5 here right now. I'm sorry, but I can't go host these games on television for $36,000 a year. I can't. And I don't regret those decisions either, by the way. Here's a good one. From Chacona Pally in Winnipeg says, Rod, if the Lions struggle, will they go after Vernon Adams? I'll tell you something. VA is the belle of the ball. He is the hottest girl at the dance leading up to the CFL trade deadline. And can somebody tell me when the CFL trade deadline is? Because he's not even on the roster for Montreal, Darren, and the Owls are winning without him. Where's the likely landing spot for VA?
BC seems like the most likely spot right now. I think Ottawa, not that they're turning to next season, but you look at places, teams that have struggled. That's a couple opportunities. But BC could be it. If Michael O'Connor doesn't play well, It could be that VA ends up in BC because there's a team who needs a plug-and-play option at quarterback. You're not taking a project, a rookie who hasn't played. You're not really that interested. You're going to do that with Michael O'Connor. But if that doesn't work out, you need a plug-and-play option, and VA is that plug-and-play piece. The other one is Saskatchewan. If you're going to decide that Cody's not going to be your guy down the stretch, maybe VA ends up there. But that's going to become musical chairs because then Cody's got to go somewhere. And you don't necessarily want to put him in Montreal as a backup to create controversy. You want to keep Trevor Harris confident. Cody could end up somewhere like BC. I mean, there could be a lot of moving pieces over the next few weeks.
Well, and that's the thing is I'm watching the highlights on ESPN SportsCenter, and I'm seeing managers going nuts. I'm seeing pitchers throw high-heated batters. I'm like, ooh, the games are starting to mean a lot. And the same thing in the CFL. Like this Riders-Lions game on Friday is massively pivotal. We know Cody Fajardo is going to start. It's pivotal for both teams. And I'm a little shocked that the Lions are favored by 4 at BetRegal with a Canadian quarterback making his first ever start in Michael O'Connor. Because as much as everybody's extolling the virtues of Nathan Rourke and saying, forget about the fact he's Canadian. Hey, I get it. Nobody's saying that about Michael O'Connor. Yet, BC's still favored by 4. Regarding who did you cheer for and why, who was the first team you loved in every league, Stephen watching in North Dakota texts into the 902 line. He says, before cable and satellite TV on the farm, I followed Kansas City and Denver because of relatives. Vikings were just on the other network. Now I can watch/follow who I want with streaming updates. And that's interesting. I don't know if, I think you watched the interview with Victor Cui the other day, the president of the Elks, but man, he's no dummy, obviously. And I talked to him about turning the people onto the brand in Edmonton, the Elks, the people that have been turned off. And he's like, well, we're looking at Edmonton, but we're looking worldwide. We're in a marketplace now, thanks to digital media and the internet, that our fan base doesn't have to be limited to Edmonton. And I thought, just like us, hence the American radio station that wants to carry our show. And I can't wait for that to happen, by the way. Road trip. Moose will be back with us after this break, and Mike Wilner coming up in the overtime. You're watching the RP Show live on the Game Plus television network. We're also live streaming on YouTube daily and 24-hour sports radio streaming now at rodpeterson.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Peterson Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience. Find us at ddgregina.com.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at BetRegal.net.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Blefuscu's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day. The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Okay, just ahead of more with the Moose, I'm going to jump into a sports update and some breaking news from our friends at Curling Canada. The fans have had their say and selected Team Greg Smith of Newfoundland and Team Suzanne Burt of PEI as the final two teams to compete at the inaugural Points Bet Invitational. Those two teams will join an established field of 30 at the Willie O'Ree Place in Fredericton starting September 21st for a chance to take home a share of the massive purse in excess of $350,000 in the single elimination knockout competition. The Blue Jays face the Boston Red Sox today in the second game of the three-game set at Fenway. Jays hammered the Red Sox 9-3 in Tuesday's opener. Defending champion Canada will enter the World Hockey Championship in Denmark on a high after thumping the United States 3-1 in a pre-tournament game on Tuesday. Canada, who's also the reigning Olympic champions, opened the tourney Thursday against Finland. The sports update for Dark Horse Bets app. Bring the thrill of the track to your fingertips with Woodbine's new Horse Bets app. Download the app for free at playdarkhorse.com. Available for Android and Apple devices. Also brought to you by Ballers Rec Room, the Tap Brewhouse and Drive-Thru Liquor Store, and for Red Bull Canada. Red Bull gives you wings. Moose, speaking of curling, did we get a text message from Ben Hebert? I just saw the text here. You go. I'm reading the text from Ben Hebert, the Olympic champion curler and best friend of Bo Levi Mitchell. What's he saying in here?
Oh, he's chiming in about the CFL trade deadline and just having some fun with us, about Bo and everything else. He's watching the show, which is great. So hi, Benny, and good.
Should I read this? No, I'm not getting. Yeah, okay. This is meant for just us. I get it.
Yeah,
but
just having some fun.
If you listen, I'm Facebook friends with Bo, and believe me, if Benny says he's a good guy, I believe he's a good guy. If Jack Fulton says he's a good guy, then I believe Bo's a good guy. He just released a statement on his Facebook, and I'm assuming his Instagram as well. I'm not sure. Bo Levi saying that he is obviously frustrated with this decision for him not to start on Thursday, but he's not above coaching and he's not above criticism. He supports Jake Mayer, and what else did he say? He will look at himself as to what he needs to be better, and he will be back on the field. That from Bo Levi Mitchell today. So who needs the media when you can use your own social media channels? To be honest with you, I wouldn't talk to the media at all if I was an athlete and a player and a coach. I wouldn't. I'd be like Tiger Woods. Yeah. I would just tweet it all on my own. That's what I would do. Not joking.
Well, it's funny. You talk about this all the time, whether it's through your recovery or through any situation, when you're going through something and things are happening to you that are not that great, it's important to ask yourself, what's my role in the situation? What have I done in this situation? Right? And yeah, there's other things, and sometimes you're getting screwed and you look at other people and assign blame, but what's your role in it? And for Bo to say, look, I'm going to examine myself and I'm going to look at how I've played and how I've trained and how I've approached the game and whatever else he might be meaning by that. That's a mature thing to say, that you're going to look at yourself and what role do you play in the situation that you're in?
Well, nobody ever wants to do that. You and I were talking about that on the air or on the phone the other day when I pointed out that Rider fans' treatment of their quarterbacks is crazy and sad. They're throwing fire at me. I don't care. Look at yourselves. It's insane the way you treat the quarterbacks in Saskatchewan. They don't want to look at themselves. Mike Wilner coming up next segment to talk Blue Jays baseball. And our viewers, as we know, the analytics show they can't get enough of that. Chris Mason in the chat says Seattle wants Nathan Rourke, at least for the backup position. Dude, they haven't decided who their number one is yet. Seattle might be the best option for Nathan Rourke in the National Football League. Our guy Lee Genier has said it's Cleveland, but it might be Seattle just down the road. Michael Wynn is watching in Winnipeg. You know Michael. He says, Bison's Huskies preseason game tomorrow night. Darren, are you at the game? You're going to be broadcasting Canada West football. I'm doubting you're going to be at a preseason game, but what's your read on the Bisons and Huskies Canadian University football?
Yeah, TBD. I don't think I'm going to be at the game, but I'm going to be following very closely, and it's going to be so much fun to watch. I mean, I'm up to my ears in prep now, getting set for the season, and really excited about it. Two teams that are going to be extremely competitive, and it's fun, good rivalry, and I can't wait for the season to get started.
Jason in Red Deer says, yes, it's on Bo's Instagram as well. Bo Levi Mitchell taking to his social media channels today to discuss his, I guess you could say benching. I didn't want to say Connor Bedard got benched in the round-robin game against Finland, but he did. Bo's being sat down here for Jake Mayer. So is Mercury in retrograde? Or as I saw Jed Roberts, he put on Facebook, the Eskimos great. Is Mercury in lemonade right now? Bingo! Weird stuff's happening. Moose, I'm going to let you go. We're going to have Mike Wilner join us next. So thanks for your efforts today. You have yourself a great day.
You too.
Blue Jays fans, perk up, including you people in the Game Plus control room in downtown Toronto, because you got all the Blue Jays questions. Mike Wilner joins us next to talk Blue Jays baseball. You're watching the RP Show on Game Plus TV. We're also live streaming on YouTube, and you can always catch the podcast wherever the best podcasts are found, including Amazon, Google, Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital Ford Lincoln. We have a great selection of brand new F-150s in stock. Drive it off the lot today. Reserve an incoming unit or pre-order the perfect vehicle for you. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital Ford Lincoln, making back to busy easy.
Mornings just got better at River Cree. For a limited time, enjoy a summer sunrise breakfast for just $1.99. Choose from 2 eggs any style, a breakfast sandwich, or pancakes. Finally, a delicious reason to wake up early. $1.99 breakfast daily at Tap 25 at the River Cree.
And that's a wrap on summer, everyone. Things are about to get back to busy. Work, school, errands, they're all coming back. That's why we make buying easy at Capital GMC. Reserve your brand new truck or SUV today. Check out our great selection of in-stock GM-certified pre-owned trucks. And make some cold hard cash by selling us your used vehicle. We pay big, and you can skip the hassle of selling privately. Plus, our service department is always here to help with any make or model. Capital GMC, making back to busy easy. Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Smoky in the air, it's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Blafusco's army is at the city walls!
The Man Mountain will return to solve all our gigantic problems. Only the great Gulliver can handle them.
It happened! The real Gulliver is back! The giant is in the city! He is right in the square!
Wow. I've never had such a welcome.
All right, we're back one final time today for Overtime. It's brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace. And what a day in sports. Bo Levi Mitchell will not start for the Calgary Stampeders Thursday at Winnipeg. We've been examining the Winnipeg Jets. Stay tuned tomorrow to see which team we profile tomorrow as we work our way towards NHL training camp. And how about those Blue Jays? Big 9-3 winners at Boston on Tuesday night. They'll play Game 2 tonight at Fenway, and Mike Wilner joins us. Ross Stripling was the hero yesterday. Was he not? Ross Stripling is the hero in Blue Jaysville these days anyways. Mike, you just talked to him?
I didn't yet, but I will. He's going to be on the podcast. He's on my podcast every week. He's such a wonderful interview and a great guest. And I'm like, I can't believe I got a member of the starting rotation in every week. So, yeah, I'll talk to him a little bit later this afternoon. But absolutely, look, he's the where would they be without him guy, right? When you look at this Blue Jays season, the starting pitching and how good he's been and how he has stabilized and solidified that rotation and honestly been one of the best starters in the league over the last 3.5 months. Yeah, where would they be without him? And he was great again last night. Since he's come back off the injured list, he's had 2 starts, 12 1/3 innings, and 1 earned run. And he kick-started this run with that great game on Wednesday last week against Baltimore. So just fantastic from Ross Stripling so far.
I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, 6 innings Tuesday night at Fenway, only 1 hit allowed. And here's my read, and then I'll take yours. And by the way, very nice to hear your voice, Mike, from the Toronto Star and the Deep Left Field podcast. Hey, they fired Charlie Montoyo. We've discussed that. They have the spike under John Schneider and then a swoon, and now they're back. And I feel like they're going to keep the pedal to the metal the rest of the way. Or they should, like the end line is in sight. Can they keep it up the rest of the way, do you think?
At this pace, no. And I think he gave up 4 hits last night, but it was 1 hit the start before. No, you can't. And the Blue Jays season has been this weird sort of like roller coaster. And I know that gets said a lot, but look, like you said, they had a lull and they're going great now. They had a lull in May. They went 2-7 on a road trip. And then immediately won 12 out of 15. They had a lull in July when they lost 9 out of 10 and then immediately won 12 out of 15 again. And now they had this lull where they lost 8 of 10 and immediately have won 5 out of 6, maybe on their way to another 12 out of 15. They are in a really great spot of the schedule right now. Their next 11 games are against terrible teams. The Red Sox are the best of the bunch, and they're, I think, 3 games under 500 now. And then you've got the Cubs, the Angels, and the Pirates, all of whom are just absolutely awful. So hopefully over these next 11 games, you see the Blue Jays go like 8-3, maybe 9-2, something like that. Get a little bit of breathing room at the top of that wild card race. But they're bound to have another one of these lulls just because it keeps happening all the time. And hopefully once it does, they're clear enough that their playoff spot is secure. You can have a lull, like let's say the 3rd week of September, and then you get hot again. And if you get hot in October, you win the whole thing. So it really has been a year of hot streaks and cold streaks for the Blue Jays. And if they get the timing right, they've got as good a chance as anybody to win the World Series.
Well, and let me just pause this for a second and say, stop the presses. Let's go back to the weekend where the Jays take 3 or 4 off the Yankees. Something we don't talk enough about in Canada is what is wrong with the Yankees. They've had a wire-to-wire division lead, and now they're struggling. What have you identified as is their problem?
Baseball, man. I mean, look, there's a reason that at the beginning of the season, nobody thought the Yankees were going to be this good. Nobody picked the Yankees to win the division. Nobody thought they were going to be anything more than a mid-range wild card team, maybe 2 or 3. And a lot of people picked them to finish out of the playoffs. And it's what's hilarious to me about this punditry and all these experts and all this stuff is that 2 months changed so many people's opinion who have watched this game for 20, 30, 40 years. It doesn't work that way. The Yankees were never going to win 120 games. They're going to win the division more than likely, and that's a surprise because, again, nobody expected this. And all these, sonnets were written and great stories in April and May about, how Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Jose Trevino have fixed this team because the Yankees had such crappy defense. It's just, look, they played way above their heads, and they did it for a long time. Not too many teams can sustain it for as long as the Yankees did. Back on July 9th, like halfway through the season, they were still on pace to break the all-time record for wins in a single season. And then it caught up to them. And they had a 4-14. Didn't come back to the pack. Look, they still have a huge lead in the division. So good for them. But this is not a generational team. This is not a Yankee team like the late 90s where they just steamrolled over everybody and won 4 World Series in 5 years. They're good. They're probably better than a lot of us thought they were going to be. But are they as good as people were saying they were in June? Absolutely not. 162 will always get you. Always. And it has with the Yankees. And look, credit to them. They're still probably going to win the division. More than likely going to win the division, and that's something nobody expected them to do. But they're just as flawed as anybody else.
Well, please tell me, just curious fan here, because I don't profess to know anything about baseball, let alone as close to what you do. How is this different from 2 years ago, where the Jays got a wild card spot and everybody said they don't win a game, and they didn't against Tampa Bay? They go to the final day last year, as we know, they don't get in. And now this year, if they claim a wild card spot and everybody's going to be excited, why would we think this year would be any different than it was 2 years ago?
Because they're a much better team now than they were 2 years ago. I mean, there's no question about it. Remember, 2020 was that 60-game season, right? With the expanded playoffs, 8 teams made it, and the Jays got in as the 8th. Now, 6 teams make it. So, and they're probably going to get in as the 3rd or 4th. But in 2020, they were coming off a 95-loss season. Bo Bichette, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Hadn't played a full year in the major leagues yet. Jordan Romano hadn't played a full year in the major leagues yet. The playoffs was just a gravy that year. And yeah, they got stormed out in 2 games against a team that was 40-20 and wound up going to the World Series and losing in Game 7, I think. But that wasn't them yet. They weren't there yet. Now it's 2 years later. They're a much, much, much better team. Guerrero's coming off a season where he could have been the MVP and is back being a top 8 hitter in the major leagues. They've got George Springer. They've added. I mean, look, they've got Alec Manoah. They didn't have in 2020. It's a much, 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 much better team than it was in 2020. And that first wild card round, chances are this year all the games are going to be in Toronto, and they're not going to be visiting the number 1 seed playoff tested team in the league. It's night and day. It's night and day from 2020 to now.
That's why I asked. Another one. We have 3 minutes. Are they DHing George Springer so as not to cause him to get hurt?
They're DHing him because his elbow's no good still. It's getting better, but they still don't want to put the pressure on him to make long throws in center field or in any hurried or rushed throws. So yeah, that's why they're DHing him, because his elbow's not healthy, but that's fine.
Yeah, looked pretty good last night. He looks pretty good at the plate.
Right, he was 7 for his last 7 coming into the game yesterday, and he hit that little bloop triple and had another hit. So yeah, if the best he can do is DH, then the best he can do is DH. But this is an entirely different team, it feels like, when Springer's in the line.
No kidding. Expensive DH, and it's driving me nuts because here in South Florida, Sportsnet's figured out. Fair. Here in South Florida, I can't get the Jays games. I could the last time I was here. Now I can. It's driving me nuts. And I see the Blue Jays schedule has come out for 2023. Again, not a baseball guy. Is this habitual that next year's would come out as early as August?
Yeah, I think so. Late August, like mid-September sometimes. But it is cool. I haven't had a chance to really, really, really break it down yet. But they do open in St. Louis, and I think it's the first time that the Blue Jays have ever opened in interleague. I certainly don't remember it happening before. Their home opener is until April 11th, so they start the season on 13-day road trip, and I guess that's to give room for those Rogers Center renovations in case things push a little bit late. This is the first year where every team plays every team. It's never happened before in baseball, so it's really cool. 8 National League teams are coming to Toronto, and the Blue Jays are visiting 8 National League cities. The schedule is pretty neat, except for, as always, Victoria Day, Simcoe Day here in Ontario, which I guess is a civic holiday across the country, and Labor Day. They are on the road, all those 3, which is just, I don't know why they can't be home for the Canadian long weekends, but they are, of course, home on Canada Day to Boston.
It is what it is. Hey, we got less than 30 seconds. Mike, thanks for the time, man. Enjoy the run. I always appreciate you.
Always happy to be here, Rod. Thanks.
Thanks to Rod Black, Mike Wilner, as you saw, all of our viewers, and Bo for being a good sport. We'll continue this chat tomorrow, Thursday, noon Eastern, right here on Game Plus TV.
Who has more fun than us?
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. Hoorah! Hell yes. Bob's your uncle. Oh, good one, Rod. How about that?